Welcome to the program. I'm Roby Brock. Thank you for joining us. There was a debate, a presidential debate on Thursday night, Joe Biden versus Donald Trump 2024. I caught up with John Brummett, columnist for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, for some analysis.
It was the blatantest debate debacle I've ever seen by mutual performance, but in the specific case of President Biden, it was the most disastrously failed debate performance I've ever seen. And I saw Dan Quayle against Lloyd Bentsen, and this was unspeakably bad for him and for the Democrats.
This was worse than Dukakis back in the day.
Yeah, Dukakis' main flaw was doing a commercial in a tank with a helmet on, and his debates were adequate.
And not answering Bernie Shaw's question very well about his wife being attacked. So, but that was another debacle there. But anyhow, yes, let's stick with the debate in front of us here.
I thought I was here to talk about what happened last night.
Joe Biden needed to show that his age was not a concern for voters. He needed to lay out a vision for the future. Did he? Well, he did not do either of those things.
He did not get in the ballpark of doing either. Yeah. It's as if he didn't even try in terms of a vision or in terms of connecting on pocketbook issues. And he simply did not appear well. He rambled on every answer toward a lost train of thought. And Trump's best line of the night was almost a deadpan. I don't know what that last sentence meant, and I don't think he does either. That was when Trump just had a moment of victory, and he almost did it in an understated way. And that's when I threw in the towel and went on Twitter and said, this is democratic malpractice. To stand between us and a Trump return to the White House and give us this man doing this kind of performance.
Yeah,
malpractice.
Trump's line on that too is one that I thought Biden would have in his pocket for when Trump used some word salad to answer a question. And
now let's be clear. Trump, by fact check, told 30 falsehoods and was kind of ridiculous and faded himself. But he started pretty strong. Yeah. He was, and particularly appearing robust in comparison to the president. It was the very thing Joe Biden had to do, you laid it out correctly, are the very things he came nowhere close to doing. I had said in a Wednesday column, this is a potentially seismic evening. It was a seismic evening. The Democrats are in crisis today.
Let's talk about where I'm seeing a lot of social media action. Of course, I've had a lot of people texting me as well, but so this is local as well as national. Democrats are saying a lot of these things about the need to select a new candidate at the convention coming up. Right. I mean, there's even been stories out this morning. I mean, I've gotten something from Jonathan Martin over at Politico as well as some others. It's already out there as the most talked about thing that needs to happen right now.
I think by 8:16 p.m. last night, the conversation was underway. And it's a serious conversation. But how do you do it? And what would the effect be? Ideally, Jill and Joe and maybe Barack would help out, would talk and make a difficult decision, and he would pull out and release his delegates. But if you do that, you have a completely open convention. He doesn't throw his support, and even if he tried, it wouldn't do anything. Kamala Harris would not naturally ascend. You would have a couple of moderate senators, a couple of people from California, and you'd have an all-out war of hundreds of ballots, conceivably, going 3 or 4 days. I mean, that's what you could have if that was the case.
As a journalist, wouldn't you love to see that happen? I mean, just from the political spectacle.
As a journalist, I would love to see it happen but as an American, I wouldn't be against it. Joe Biden can't, I don't believe Joe Biden can compete after last night. And if you're going to be the only party standing between us and a return of a man who fomented insurrection and tried to deny an election, and the guy you got has demonstrated he can't do it, then you need to do something convulsive to give us another choice, a fresh face. Democrats win when they have new faces with fresh messages. JFK, Clinton, Carter, Obama. And that's precisely the only thing that could save them, I think, right now.
Yeah. All right, we talked about what Joe Biden needed to do last night to perform. Donald Trump really needed to show that he was not unhinged, which we do see him at his rallies ramble into these areas where we're not sure. We're talking about sharks and electrocution and some things like that, and other things. And he needed to lay out a vision for the future too, in terms of here's what I would do, which is I think a return to what I did in my first term. Did he come across as not as wild-eyed and crazy as he has in some of his other recent performances?
Here's my best answer on that. He did early, like in the first quarter, when the audience was probably at its most impressionable. It was clear he had taken some advice. He appeared so robust and vigorous compared to Biden. He was playing off Biden's errors and blunders and weaknesses, and he was, and he did well early. Now, as it went on, he reverted to form. He faded. He seemed to get some mental fatigue himself. He rambled himself, and he broke into a hyperbolic falsehood fest, which is, but never to the extreme of these rallies, never to anything memorable. Debates are about things that are memorable. What's memorable is Joe saying, "We finally beat Medicare." That's, you know, that kind
That'll
of thing.
be a bumper sticker.
Yeah. I didn't know they were playing Medicare, but they beat Medicare. I'm sorry. It's but yeah. I mean, Trump turned out to be Trump, but a lesser version of himself to the extent that he actually accomplished what he needed to accomplish. Did he lay out a vision? His vision is that Joe Biden is horrible and the Democrats are horrible and America's gone to hell. And I'm going to do something about it.
Yeah.
That's his message, that's his vision. These are our choices, and it is, I mentioned democratic malfeasance. This is American political failure.
Yeah.
That these two guys are what we had last night and what we have at this moment. And I think 2/3 of America agrees with me on that.
I think your percentage may be higher that agrees with you on that. So how's the field looking in 2028? I mean, I think that's where I have to find my hope for the future, because
you've tried this on me before. You're assuming we get to.
I'm disappointed with both of our choices in the major parties.
A lot happens on the Democratic side. If the Democrats could, and it's unlikely, but if they could have a free-for-all that would produce some prospects and maybe a fresh face, then that person might improve things on the Democratic side. The Republicans will be improved after Trump, because and we'll have to see, does Trump's legacy continue this MAGA politics, or is there a conventional retro Reagan business, reasonable cultural conservative Republican essence that can be restored? And but we got too much convulsion to go through before November to even really think seriously about that. I
caution everyone to think too, and I've said this publicly many times, there are still a lot of potential twists and turns in the road. We still have over 4 months before Election Day, and you could have a number of things happening.
Biden could have some sort of wondrous convention. He could do well in a second debate. It's possible.
Yeah.
And this could be dismissed as that night he was dehydrated and got confused. I mean, that is possible.
Yeah.
I'm in the moment, and in the moment, it's dire.